risk your job, everything you work for. I don't want you getting tangled up in this. I don't know if I'll follow the rules.
You know you can't get rid of me that easily.
Come on, seriously.
If the roles were reversed, would you risk it for me?
This is off the record. That means you don't talk about it.
You think he's really gonna show?
He'll show. They always show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Maurice Brown Show. Stand by. We've got a very special guest coming up on the show. Stand by. Ladies and gentlemen, talking to us from a very cold San Antonio area of Texas, a native of a much warmer, during the summertime for sure, New Orleans, Louisiana, who played Verena Davis in the original stage production of Sisters Under the Skin. She has performed in films opposite Ty Sheridan, Imogene Poots, and a young McKenna Grace. She works in a recurring role as Tess in the AMC series Fear of the Walking Dead, and as Becky Travis on the show Amazon Prime's Vindication. And you can also see her in stage plays and short films as well as feature films, one of which is Annie Silverstein's Bull. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show the very talented Peggy Schott. Hello, Peggy. How are you?
Hello. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, Peggy, I tell you, you guys getting some tough weather down there in Texas. How much snow did you guys get?
We're pretty far south in Texas. We're near San Antonio, and we got almost 3 to maybe 4 inches. And my daughter, who's closer to Austin, had 7 inches, and my son still hasn't checked in. He's in Dallas, so I'm sure he has even more.
Wow, it's very unlike. It's been a weird winter, though. It's just been one of those years where it seemed like it was going to be a fairly tame winter, and then it got ugly.
I agree.
It started showing its teeth, but then again, it is winter. It's supposed to happen. We've gotten spoiled, I think, a little bit.
Yes,
but not in Texas, though. That's crazy. So what have you been up to, Peggy, during this pandemic situation in the world of entertainment?
A lot of Zoom. Thankfully, a lot of creative people have found ways to continue to connect. I've done a lot of table reads and classes and things like that. But I think the best thing I've done for myself, professionally and personally, is to just use this time to step back and really focus on what's most important in life. And that is, family. I have a new grandson, and whenever I get a chance to spend time with him, it's wonderful. And just being out in nature and appreciating all that God's given us. I've been in the springtime and in the summer, just appreciating all the flowers. Today, I've been spending so much time looking at the birds, coming to the bird feeder, and just fascinated by all the beautiful things that God has given us. So focusing on all the blessings that we have.
Amen, Peggy. Amen. My wife is from Brazil. It's, as you mentioned, nature. She's from Brazil. And when she first came to this country, she didn't realize how obsessed American men are with football. She didn't get that. And she came to me when we were dating on a beautiful autumn, sunny Sunday afternoon. When most normal, red-blooded American males are watching football. That's it, Peggy. You got it. Football. And she said, honey, she came to me, Peggy, get this. She said, honey, let's go outside. Get this, Peggy. You're going to love it. And take pictures of nature.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd much rather do that than watch football.
Well, I told her, babe, you're in luck. I'm actually watching nature right now. Come on in here and watch this. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. It's the Bears versus the Lions. She didn't like that very much. She
Rather
didn't like
be
that
up
very much,
and
Peggy. But
down.
the thing that I learned is like she was the one that was normal, and I was very abnormal. And I learned to appreciate nature, Peggy. And I also learned that I didn't want to wake up in the morning with a linebacker. So I love nature. I love it. But Peggy, so you're doing the crime series Vindication. It is an awfully powerful and popular series. I love it. And you guys have a huge following. What's the filming like right now as far as season 2? How far have you guys gotten?
Well, we've definitely had some delays in filming, but we have been able to film the first 5 episodes of season 2.
Okay.
And I'm so excited. I can't wait for everybody to see. We've got some new recurring characters who are coming on that I can't say anything about, but I think people are going to be really excited about new characters and, compelling storylines and also some fun stuff. And we're going to start filming episode 206 and 207 and 208 are coming up soon. So we're going to finish out the season. But from what I understand, the first 5 episodes will be released before the other 5 are finished. So hopefully it won't be too long before everybody gets to enjoy seeing at least part of season 2 of Vindication.
Now, did you expect going in, and I guess this is a question that that would probably be the standard response from most people when you get something as wildly as successful as Vindication, but did you have a hint or an idea as you guys began the project that it might have a chance to be as popular as it is?
Well, I have most of my film background is in independent film. And when you work in independent, I think you don't anticipate or expect anything. The biggest problem is that there's not marketing funds to get the word out about projects. And a project can be very, very good, but if you can't get the word out, people don't see it. For Vindication, we don't have a budget for marketing, but what we did have is word of mouth. That there are so many people who have seen the series and told their friends, told other people about it, and spreading word of mouth is the reason why the series has done so well and why we have a chance to make a season 2. So we are thrilled with our fans that are spreading the word for us.
Well, you do have a lot of fans for sure, and I've watched the entire series probably a few times too many. My wife will tell you that. But that being said, what I think my favorite episode is episode 5. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's my favorite episode. I just love the intensity and the pace of. There's something very, very spiritual about that particular episode. But specifically in reference to that particular episode, you have a Bible study, a female Bible study, and I find it intriguing. I just want to get your response because it looks like there's a statement being made about the Bible study, and I'm interested in your response here. Is it about gossiping being disguised as prayer, or is it about just being judgmental? Because and without giving too much away, I know that one of the members of the group, who's the principal character more or less of episode 5, was kind of offended or what have you. And she said some things that were kind of revealing about the group. And your character was kind of stuck a little bit like, whoa, maybe, there's some truth or maybe I am doing something wrong here. But I'd love to hear your response to that.
I think that what it really shows is that Becky is flawed.
Right.
And because she's human, and I think she has good intentions, but I think that's part about her that really makes her more relatable to the audience, is because none of us is perfect. And even though, and I don't want to give much away for season 1, but Becky is one of the most religious people that you see.
Yes.
But even she is flawed because she's human and always has so much to learn. And we always need to continue to be seeking and learning. And I think that's pretty much what it was about.
Yeah, I found it really intriguing. It wasn't an obvious or blatant statement per se. It was something that the viewer had to kind of read into it, and that's what I was reading. It's like, wow, the Bible study is great, and Becky is a great follower of Christ. I love that, and but there was something about the gathering. Again, I definitely don't want to give too much away, but there was definitely a vibe in episode 5 that kind of revealed maybe the nuts and bolts of Jarrett's intentionality of revealing something about the ladies, in particular, of course, Becky Travis. And that's what I got. I was like, wow, this is, because here's the reality. We are all human, and a lot of Christians are that way. They disguise gossip as prayer. It happens all the time, and I saw that referenced a few times in that particular episode. And I just again, that is my favorite one, just because of the pacing of the episode and how it kind of manifests itself at the end of that episode, how the guys, and then boom, they go another direction. And to me, that's the beauty of the entire show. It's like you're thinking one thing, but it's actually something else. And I got to say this as well, too, Peggy. I believe that this show, as a faith-based project, it resembles an NCIS or a Blue Bloods or what have you. It resembles it. The acting's very good, and Jarrett tackles some pretty strong issues that most faith-based programs kind of like shy away from. But he kind of tackled it, and he went in with the right amount of taste and class that's required to tackle the subjects. And he does that so well the entire that way. And then you go, oh man, this is not Blue Bloods. This is not Law and Order. They're actually going to the light. You watch Blue Bloods, and I love Blue Bloods, no question. But you watch that, and you go, should I jump off this building? No, I'm just kidding, Peggy. But I'm saying that it's going to the light, and that is indeed the beauty of Vindication. You do a great job as Becky Travis. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Candace Kirkpatrick says you do a beautiful job as in your role, and thankful that Jarrett has you in that role, because I too agree that her intentions are good, and as you said, but things can be a little bit off center because we're human. We all make mistakes. But tell us a little bit before we go back into some more of your acting career. How did you actually get started in this business of acting, Peggy?
Well, it started back in 7th grade. 7th grade, I played Nancy in Oliver at my school. And then 8th grade, I was Eliza Doolittle in My Fair Lady. And then in high school, I went to an all-girls Catholic school in New Orleans. And the all-boys Catholic school was down the street. And I did theater at the all-boys Catholic school, Jesuit High School, which had a very big theater department. It had the biggest high school auditorium in the southeastern United States at the time. And the director there was Sonny Borey, and he loved to put on just tremendous musical productions. And I ended up doing 8 plays while I was there, and really enjoyed being part of that, and the camaraderie and working with the other people. And several of those people went on to New York. A few ended up singing with the Met. And being in traveling shows. But the more I heard about continuing on in theater and trying to pursue a profession in it, the more I heard about it, things were cutthroat, and there was so much competition. And that is not something that I wanted. What I really liked about it was the friendships and things that were created. And so I decided not to pursue acting. That was one reason. But the other reason is that when I was a freshman, the guy who did the lights for the plays, I met him. And then after my freshman year of college, he was graduating from college when I was finishing my freshman year of college, and we got married. So I married the light man from high school theater. And started my own graphic design firm. And I did that and did a lot of volunteer work, and then had kids, and then we moved to Texas. Anyway, decades later, as my kids are growing up and, they're trying to decide what do they want to be when they grow up. And I wanted to know what I wanted to be when I grew up. And the thing that I really enjoyed doing so much was performing and being in theater. So I auditioned for a play and got in it and just was bitten by the bug and started doing more and more theater. And I was doing a play with a man who was doing some commercial work and working with student films at the University of Texas. So I said, well, let's try that. And so the first thing I did is get into class to learn the difference between theater and film acting, because there definitely are differences between them. Did as much learning as I could, and then working with student films and small productions, working as an actress, but also working behind the camera. I volunteered with lots of small productions, just learning as much as I possibly could. And then I got an agent and went on from there. To get on Vindication, I had a short film that was at a film festival out in Fredericksburg, Texas. And at this same festival, the first episode of Vindication, or what became the first episode of Vindication, it was actually made as a short film, was screening there at that same time when I had another film. And that's where I met Jared. And it was a couple of years later that he contacted me about playing the role. And it really has been such a blessing to be part of Vindication. That was a very long answer.
I had Jared on the show in December, and he did mention that you, Todd Terry, and he was maybe it was Venus, I'm not sure, but definitely you two were immediately, as far as Jared was concerned, going to be put. I mean, you did have to do an audition, but he already knew that he was going to put you on the show. And you and Todd Terry are seamless in your chemistry as husband and wife. I just love the way you guys do it. It's such professionalism that is displayed in the way that you guys both play your roles. And Jared is just tremendously blessed to have the two of you guys to be the anchor of that show. There's no question about it. And so I would like to ask you, because you've done a lot of theater, you've done a lot of stage stuff, and of course you've done a lot of film. Which of the two do you find more challenging?
They're just both so very different. With theater, you have more time to rehearse and practice. I guess I consider film to be more like a bus ride. And you get on the bus and you go to the next stop, and then you go to the next stop, and you take a ride and you go to the next stop. Whereas doing theater is more like being on a train, and you get on and you are going. You're going to go the whole way.
Yeah. Right.
But with theater, you get the immediate input of the audience, and often audiences have personalities, especially when you're doing comedy, as you know. And you can kind of change the way you do things a little bit based on the feedback that you're getting from the audience. And you don't get that in film. I remember one of the first short films that I did, it was called Detention. It was based on a true story, the writer director of when he was a little boy in Catholic school. And I played the nun. And we did all the scenes with the kids that were there. And then the kids left, and they wanted to get close-ups of Sister, I forget what her name was. But just all the expressions, her being angry at the children, and then something happens and things get silly, and it's a comedy. And I remember the director called action, and I am in this room with probably 25 people in the crew. And I'm just going through all these different facial expressions, and I've got that little theater voice in the back of my head saying, nobody's laughing, nobody's responding. They don't like it. This is bad. Nobody's doing anything. And then he called cut, and the whole room just fell apart, cracking up laughing. I'm like, oh yes, I'm on film. It's different. But it was one of the first things I had done. Yeah. But in reverse of that, that little theater voice, I was doing Marvin's Room, which is a very serious play. I was playing a woman who was dying of leukemia. And it was a small theater, and the front row of the theater was right up against the stage. And there was a woman, we had one performance, there was a woman in the front row with a broken leg. And she had her leg propped up on part of the stage. And I remember this feeling of being on stage, and I'm performing this very emotional scene where I'm crying, but that little theater voice in the back of my head is saying, don't trip over her leg. Don't trip over her leg. So you have to separate them with theater. Whereas in film, I mean, you have to be aware of where the camera is. But once you do.
Okay, I think we may have lost Peggy there. I know that she said there. I think Peggy, are you there? So they're having some issues down there in the San Antonio area with the weather. It's affecting their electricity and Wi-Fi and all of that stuff. So we kind of talked before the show began that this may occur. But Peggy, if you can hear me, keep working through it. We're going to hang out, and we'll just wait for you guys to kind of reestablish connection. We're talking with Peggy Schott from the show Vindication, a faith-based crime series that you can see on PureFlix, Redeem TV. I believe also you can see that on the platform of, we had Candace, Redeem TV, PureFlix, Amazon Prime. For sure. I think there's one other platform you can see that, but that's definitely one of the best faith-based shows you can see around. I mean, there's just no question. I think the other one would be The Chosen. I would probably put The Chosen on that level without question. Matter of fact, those are the two best, no doubt, faith-based projects that are going on right now in Christendom. And, of course, Peggy Schott is a part of Vindication. You should check her out. You can also see Peggy in Fear of the Walking Dead, a series on AMC. And she's in a film called Bull, which is a quite compelling film that you can see as well. And hopefully she'll be back, reestablish connection, and she'll be back with us. In the meantime, just a program reminder for you. Later on today, we're going to have Jonathan Nicholas, a Christian comedian that will be with us at 3 p.m. today. You don't want to miss that. Jonathan is a very, very funny guy, so be hanging out for that. And then tomorrow at 12 noon, we're going to have Gigi Orsillo. She is from the film Sleeper Agent. Very funny with Leland Klassen. That is a very, very good film. She's going to be with us tomorrow at 12 noon, followed by stand-up comedian Patrick Keene, who is out of San Diego, California. He's going to be with us tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. So we've been talking with Peggy Schott from the film or the faith-based crime series Vindication. Jonathan Nicholas, great job. Steve Mokate on Vindication. Steve Mokate indeed did a great job as Sergeant Bill Tomlinson. He does a great job as Sergeant Bill Tomlinson. And we'll be back for season 2. I had Steve on the show a couple of months ago. Actually, a very funny guy as well. Steve says, my power was out all night. So, and Steve's down there in Texas as well. But, yeah, thanks for the shout out to Steve Mokate. Jonathan, great job on Vindication. No question about that. We're talking with Peggy Schott, who plays Becky Travis in the faith-based crime series Vindication. Power went out down there in Texas. They had a horrible snowstorm down there last night. It was out all night long, as Steve Mokate's power was as well. They got it back up, but there was no guarantee that they would be able to maintain that power. And as a matter of fact, if it was out all night, there's a good chance that perhaps she may not be able to but we're going to hang out anyway and give her an opportunity to do that. Like I said, you can see Peggy. And I was telling her, if anybody's ever watched Vindication, episode 5 is my favorite. And then episode 2 with Macy McLean and Todd Terry's son. Good gosh. And Todd, if you're listening, if you watch and give me your son, I think it's Austin. Awesome show, because you and it's hard to talk about this stuff without giving away too much information. But I think most of you guys have seen Vindication, but I'm still going to be careful about how much I reveal. But you're watching it and you're like, well, this is probably, let's see. John says, I had to take off from Texas. I was looking like a chocolate popsicle stick out there in the set of The Chosen. Okay. And it's awful difficult for a brother to get a haircut down there in the Midwest, too, particularly in Utah. But anyway, that being said, Jonathan, that episode 2 with Macy McLean and I think Austin Terry, you're watching it, you're thinking it's about, okay, this is an adolescent story. And then the more you watch it, nothing could be further from the truth. And it just like slams home about home and having a family and dealing with different issues that could arise out of nowhere. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is so hugely compelling. And then to bring out Jesus Christ as that light in the midst of all of those different, murky things that happens in a family. It happens, and we all have issues on some level. And to see how Christ is brought out in that particular, that's just for me. This is just me. Love episode 2. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with Peggy Schott. Of course, we're not right now, but we were, and hopefully we will again. She's from the the crime series Vindication. And she was with us. They had some problems down there with the connection because of a snowstorm they had in San Antonio last night. Hopefully she'll be back with us. You can also see Peggy in Fear of the Walking Dead on AMC. It's a series on AMC. And then you can see her in the film Bull, which stars Robert Morgan, who does a tremendous job. It's an indie film project, and you've got to give it a look. It is awesome. Candace Kirkpatrick says, Jarrett does a great job of showing Christ and our need for Christ in the middle of our mess. He does an excellent job, Candace, of doing that. And that's the biggest draw for me to Vindication, is the fact that it is firmly centered around Christ. And it just brings home so many issues that I think, quite frankly and honestly, most Christian entertainment companies or Christian entertainment in general doesn't want to address. But the reality is these things are happening all around us. And if anyone should be tackling the issues, it should be Christians. We should be doing a swan dive into some of the messiest, murkiest issues that exist. We should be leading the charge to do that. And show that light can be found, and that is in Jesus Christ, without thumping your Bible, without standing up and giving a soliloquy on a soapbox, and just do it. Just live it, be it, show it, expose it with class, with tact, and let's get down to business. And that's what Vindication does. There's another show on Pure Flix called The Chosen, which is a totally different theme, and it's about the life of Jesus Christ in the different aspects of the 4 Gospels. And Jesus is played by Jonathan Rumi. And just by coincidence, The Chosen is also being filmed down in Texas, like Vindication, and that one is done by, thank you, Candace, and that film series is being produced by Dallas Jenkins. We're going to have Phil Mendoza and Justin Overlander, 2 members of that project. Justin Overlander is the associate producer of The Chosen. He'll be on in March, early March, and Phil Mendoza, who plays key scene in, I believe, episode 5 of The Chosen, when they turn the water into wine. Oh my gosh, that is such an awesome episode. Phil Mendoza will be on March 16th at 3 p.m. right here on the Maurice Brown Show. That is a show that'll bring you to tears, The Chosen. Jonathan Rumi, oh gosh, and I'm not just saying this. I honestly believe that is the best portrayal of Jesus Christ I've ever seen. He does it with such aplomb and poignancy, and he does it in a real way. It's so natural. He said, "Oh yeah, that's how Jesus would have been. Yeah, Jesus would have done that. Oh yeah, he would have said that. Oh yeah, absolutely, he would have spoken to the kids this way." As you're watching it, you're envisioning, yes, that's how Christ would have done it. And there are other great films out there about Christ. Not to take anything away from those wonderful actors who have portrayed Jesus. in prior films. They did a great job. But Jonathan Rumi, to me, does the best job I've ever seen. And you got to check it out. It's they are also filming season 2 down in Texas, as Vindication is doing the same thing. So I believe we should expect to see Vindication. Don't know too much about The Chosen as far as when that they will be complete and we can see the second season. But I don't even know the same about Vindication, but I'm guessing we'll probably see season 2 presented to the public on Amazon Prime and those other platforms, probably in the latter part of the summer, something like that. So we'll be looking out for that. But both great shows, and I got a lot of shows coming up down the road with members from The Chosen, and prayerfully I'll be able to get Jonathan Rumi. That is a show, guys. I'm telling you, it'll bring you to tears. I mean, I get choked up just about every episode. Oh my gosh, it's just so awesome. And in fact, I don't know if you could go this far, but I'll throw it out there. You could almost, and of course I wouldn't literally do this, but it is so good. It could replace your morning Bible study. Just watch an episode. Just watch an episode. Hopefully sooner we'll begin showing season 2 Vindication. Hopefully, and Candace Kirkpatrick is a part of season 2. Congratulations to you, Candace, for being a part of that. And can't wait until it's done. But anyway, yeah, Candace, well-deserving. You're a terrific actress, Candace. I can't wait to see that. So, yes, we were talking with Peggy Schott of Vindication, who plays Becky Travis, the wife of Detective Travis, a role played by Todd Terry, who was on the Maurice Brown show. Also in November, he was on, along with Venus Monique, who plays the role of Detective Chris Tanner. They were both on in November. And so Peggy is down in San Antonio. They had a horrible storm last night, and it affected their ability to have Wi-Fi. Christopher Sean Shaw, my good buddy Christopher Sean Shaw. Hey, look, everybody. Christopher Sean Shaw has a movie that he has directed and produced called Church People. Hilarious. And Sean, if you're still watching, give us the date when that's going to be released. But I saw the trailer recently the other day, and it's got Thor Ramsey, who's a stand-up comedian. He also happens to be a pastor, and he's also a stand-up comic, and he's in Church People. And good gosh, you know what? Next show I get, next time I'm on, I'm going to show the trailer of Church People. Awesome. Excellent job, Chris. And I cannot wait to see that film. But yeah, congratulations to Candace Kirkpatrick on her job as an actress. But again, tomorrow, program reminder as we're waiting for, I think Chris has a little bit more information for us if you want to, if you care to see his new film, Church People, coming out March 13th through the 15th, I think. It's at fathomevents.com/events/church people. Check it out. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait till it comes out. Candace Kirkpatrick says, thanks for the kindness. Nothing should take the place of Bible reading. No, Candace, nothing should. And I wouldn't advocate that at all. But The Chosen does a beautiful job putting skin on many of the characters. It does. And congratulations to Christopher Sean Shaw. His new film is getting received well all over social media. No doubt about it. It's going to be hilarious. Now, Candace, the stand-up comedian in me can't help but say things like that. No, I would never say have that replace your morning Bible study, but my gosh, it's so good. It's so good. And you know, and I will say this though, Candace, when I'm having, and I probably, you know, I probably should have more moments in Bible study in the morning, which tells me that I need to improve my own personal Bible study where I'm I become as emotional as I become when I'm watching The Chosen. You know, I should be affected and touched in the poignant way by my own Bible study as I am when I'm watching The Chosen. To tears. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. Kudos to Jonathan Rumi for the way that he portrays Jesus Christ. Kudos to Dallas Jenkins for getting down and dirty and saying, I'm going to make this happen. That series was funded by the public through GoFundMe. $10 million was generated through GoFundMe to produce this series. And the proof's in the pudding. Well worth it. Every copper penny of the $10 million was well spent. Great job to Dallas Jenkins on that. Christopher Sean Shaw says, how long can we vicariously communicate on Maurice Brown's show? Well, that's a great question, Chris. Just hang in there with me, man. I'm trying to hang on until Peggy can get back. Candace says, well said, Maurice. Paul Long of Kappa Studios during COVID has been reading through the Bible each month. And Paul Long, love Paul Long. Paul Long is really helping out faith-based projects that need funding and need a little extra boost financially to get their projects on platforms. God bless Paul Long and Kappa Studios for the assist that they're giving to faith-based projects. You got to love it. I had Paul Long on the show, I want to say in December as well, and he produced Selfie Dead with the comedian Michael Jr. You can check that out on, I believe that's on Amazon Prime as well. Very, very funny film, Selfie Dead. And by the way, I'm going to do next week, I'm going to have Jason Earls, hopefully Bone Hampton, both stand-up comedians, and hopefully A-Train or Kason Wilson. We're going to do a live Bible study on the Maurice Brown show, and it'll be fun. We're going to talk about the Lord, and we're going to have a good time talking about it. So be on the lookout for that in a couple of weeks. Christopher Sean Shaw says, shout out to Paul Long and Brad Silverman. Yes, and I would be remiss in not mentioning Brad Silverman, who also works with Paul Long at Kappa Studios. Selfie Dad is now on DVD in stores. So check that out. Very funny film, like I said, with stand-up comedian Michael Jr. And again, as we are waiting, Peggy, I'm hanging in there for you. I know it's tough down there. You guys are really going through with the power and everything. And I was warned by Peggy Schott. I was forewarned that this might be an issue, and it apparently has been, and it's all good. Christopher Sean Shaw says, and on Prime, you can see Selfie Dad coming up at 3 p.m. later on today, everybody. Hopefully we won't be having the issue of weather getting in the way, but we're going to have my main man, comedian Jonathan Nicholas. He's going to be on later today at 3 p.m. And then on tomorrow, we're going to go with Gigi Orsillo at 12 noon from the film Sleeper Agent. Hilarious film with Leland Klassen. That film is really good. Gigi's actually pretty funny too. She's able to do comedy as well. I've seen her some other projects, which I think is pretty good, and she does a great job playing off of Leland Klassen, the love interest in the film Sleeper Agent. We're going to have Gigi on tomorrow at 12 noon, and then at 3 p.m. out of California, Patrick Keene, stand-up comedian who recently had a dry bar comedy special released. He's going to be on tomorrow at 3 p.m. on the Maurice Brown Show. Jonathan Nicholas chimes in. Let's get ready to get our praise and laugh on. Jonathan, we're going to have fun, man. We're going to be cracking the jokes coming up at 3 o'clock. We're going to get our praise on for sure. Christopher Shaw says, tell some jokes, Maurice Brown. Well, we can. I mean, why not? I mean, here's a great time, and here's the thing. we're in this COVID-19 thing. And I tell you right now, my wife, I think we got Peggy. I think Peggy just saved everybody from me boring you guys in tears maybe with some of my jokes. Peggy, you made it back. How are you?
Well, this weather has been really crazy, and for the whole beginning of the interview, we were just on my hotspot because the electricity was off at the house.
Yeah,
and then the hotspot went down and everything was gone, and then all of a sudden it came back. So fingers crossed.
Amen. I'm glad you're back. And anyway, it's all good because we talked about it before, that this could be an issue with the storm situation. Steve Mokate chimed in earlier when you were out, said his power was out all night last night as well. So you made it back. Thank goodness. I'm glad you're back because I wanted to talk a little bit about a film. Not a film. It's a series that you're in on AMC called Fear of the Walking Dead. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Fear the Walking Dead is a spinoff of the show Walking Dead, which has been around for 11 seasons, and Fear is in its 6th season.
Okay.
And it's shot in season 4, 5, and 6, and it is going to film season 7 in the Austin area.
Okay.
And I think one of my favorite things about it is that it is giving local talent opportunities to be part of a bigger show. I play a character named Tess. She's in 6 episodes in season 5.
Okay.
And the only thing that I can officially say is that at the end of season 5, she's not dead yet.
Okay. Pardoning the pun.
Yes.
Not dead yet. That's good stuff. I love it. I love it, Peggy.
Yes, but Todd Terry even has a role on the show too. So.
Oh, is that right? Wow, that's really cool.
Yes.
Kind of a down low appearance from Todd Terry in Fear of the Walking Dead. I love it. That's pretty darn awesome. We were talking about stage versus film earlier, and as a stand-up comic, I deal with a lot of different situations. There's a great unknown when you're on live.
Yes.
and you were talking about, you didn't hear the audience, so you were expecting to hear the audience, and in comedy we call that bombing. But you weren't bombing though. It was just like you were just doing the film. My question to you though, because I know when you're doing theater or anything live, nerves can be an issue. I saw an actors roundtable. I don't know if this is something you've ever experienced during your time on stage, but I was watching a show with actors at a roundtable, well-established actors, and they were talking about film and nervousness. And they gosh, I wish I could remember some of the actors involved, but they were talking about a bucket that's left on the side of the stage for those that may need it before they go on. And I was wondering if you had ever experienced that type of thing in theatrical productions.
Thankfully, no. I can't imagine. But yeah, I mean, nerves are absolutely a thing, and especially when you start hearing, you can hear the audience out there, and there's people, and but my go-to is to just pray.
Yeah,
prayer is the best thing before going live on stage or before going in for an audition.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, I used to just run over my lines over and over and over again to try to, but if you don't know your lines already, when you're ready to go on stage to perform or ready to go into an audition, then you just haven't done your homework.
Right. I would totally agree with that. Again, as a stand-up comic, I can totally relate to that. You gotta know your stuff. Mm-hmm. And if you at least know what you're going to do when you get up there, I mean, that covers half the nerves right there. I even, get to a point when I show up to the venue, like a lot of comics, they like go over their stuff before they go on one last time. Okay. Yeah. I don't want to see it. When I get to the venue, I don't want to see anything I'm going to be talking about. I'm done. I feel like if I don't know it by the time I get to the venue, I can just go back home.
Right.
And so I don't do that. And it makes me more nervous if I look at myself. I just don't want to see it. And then before I go on, 10 seconds before I get up there, I think, how am I going to remember all this stuff?
That's why you pray.
Yeah. But Peggy, honestly, when you have I love what you just said about being ready. When you put the time in, when you've gone over it and gone, whatever, it's like, it just comes out. I never forget anything. I even shocked myself, like, wow, that stuff just came out of me. I'm like, wow.
You had mentioned earlier the play Sisters Under the Skin. It was an original production, a 3-woman show. And in that, I had a monologue that lasted 17 minutes.
Wow.
Yes. And talk about, you get on that train and the train is going. And people would say, how could you remember that? It's like, probably if you started me somewhere in the middle, I'd have a tough time. But if you start at the beginning, it just goes. You just go with it. So
you just go with it. So yeah, I was wondering if you had you've already answered the question. You pray, but some people have like rituals. They have processes that they go through in order to stay calm. I have a stand-up comedian friend before he goes on, all the other comics know, stay away from him. Because he gets into this zone that says, stay away from me. But, he's awesome. That's his process, and hey, praying is the best process that you could possibly come up with.
Yeah, I worked with an actress recently who is just amazing. But yeah, she would go into a closet and nobody could be around her. But that you have to find what works for you. I mean, that even comes down with classes that you take. There's so many different methods of acting that are taught. Mm-hmm. And I've studied quite a few different things, and you just have to, some people, swear by a certain style, but you have to find out what works best for you. So same thing with calming. And really what I do, my prayer, I try to keep it as simple as possible. And I just keep repeating the Our Father over and over and over, because the repetition, I find it very calming. And that's what works for me.
So Jordan Elsess
Hi, Jordan.
saw that monologue. He said, yes, that was long. He said he and his mom saw that where you played a cancer patient and were very impressed.
Oh, thank you, Jordan.
I want to switch gears. I had Jordan on a couple of months ago as well. Jordan's awesome young actor. I love Jordan. I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about the film Bull. I was very intrigued by this film. It's an indie project, I believe.
Yes.
And it features actor Rob Morgan. Mm-hmm. And I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to see this. I'm just very intrigued by the theme of this film. And give us a little background on the story and how we can actually see it.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely recommend seeing it. It is an independent feature film. Yeah. It was made by Annie Silverstein. I met Annie when she was a grad student at UT in film. Okay. And she had done some work that I just was so impressed with. She just has really raw emotions of people, and she likes to use real people, not actors, in a lot of the things that she does. Nice. And then a few years later, I was in a film that her husband produced. Okay. And it was a few years ago. She had already written. Okay, let's back up. She was doing a short film, and they were location scouting. And when they were location scouting in the Houston area, she came across someone who was very big into the black rodeo circuit.
Okay.
And she'd never heard any, people. I don't know if anybody who hears about the black rodeo circuit, but it is a really big thing. And she was intrigued with that and decided that she wanted to do a film about it, but she was doing other things at the time, so she put it on a back burner. And then finally she did get around to it. And Bull is based in the black rodeo circuit as the background for it, which is just fascinating to watch. That's not really what the film is all about, but that's the background for the film.
Yes.
But she had written it and she was workshopping it. And I was invited to come to the workshop to do a table read for an early version of the film. And on that, I read the part of the grandmother. Okay. And we did that at Richard Linklater's ranch. And Jonathan Demme was even there in our small audience of people. Jonathan Demme, who did Silence of the Lambs.
Ah, wow.
Yes, and some other big people also big people in Austin independent film. were all there. So it was just wonderful to be part of that in this early script read. I think I'm the only one from that original group that actually did get a role in the real film.
Okay.
But I also helped with casting because, as I said, she likes to use real people. And the young girl who plays Amber, no, her real name is Amber. She plays Chris. They did a casting search all throughout Texas and brought in so many girls, and I helped out with some of that. But anyway, so yes, I did get to have a role. It's a small role that I played the teacher in it. But just to have been involved with the film from an early script all the way through the final, it premiered at Cannes. It won some big awards. It is now nominated for 3 Spirit Awards.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, and it is available. It is out on pay-per-view. So, and different places, lots of different platforms. And so you probably have to pay about $5 to watch it.
Okay.
And please, I would tell everybody, please go ahead and pay to watch it, because that's how you support filmmakers, especially independent filmmakers. Just go ahead and pay and see it. Watch Bull. It's very good. Oh, yes. Very good film.
I am going to make it a point to see this film. There's no question about it. The lead actor in this film, Rob Morgan, I've seen him around. He's not like one of those frontline guys that you see normally in a film, but you see him a lot in substantive works, and he does really, really well. Each time I've seen him, and he looks like he does a compelling job in his role. What was it like working with Rob Morgan?
I did not get to work with him
because
I played the teacher. So I was only in the classroom with Amber, the young actress, and she was pretty much ignoring her teacher. So I didn't get to do much with her, but it was nice to be on set with Annie and be part of it.
I totally understand. So I'm definitely going to make a point to see Bull. No question about it. Candace Kirkpatrick says, thank you for sharing, and we'll make sure to see this indie film. It's, oh my gosh. And you mentioned the Black Rodeo. I did not know there was a Black Rodeo. I never knew that. So that's some good historical information, some good FYI stuff for everyone. And the trailer, I mean, I was just mesmerized by the trailer and the theme. And I'm not going to give to him. The trailer will tell you that he's dealing with a situation there with a young girl that's gotten wayward, and he's trying to help her out. And it's awesome. But I got to see the film, no doubt. Now, I want to ask you about some folks that you have worked with on a regular basis from Vindication. What is it like working with Todd Terry?
Oh, Todd Terry, he is such a wonderful professional to work with. Yeah, it has been a fantastic experience to work with him. Being a faith-based film, it's a lot. Oh goodness, how am I going to say this? We like to run lines and things beforehand and prepare.
Yeah,
we're trying to create a married couple, but of course we are not actually a married couple. And being a faith-based project, there are certain things that we just do not do, but still you need to create the illusion that this is a loving couple and they are married.
Right.
And Todd is always so respectful in the things that we do. You know, we'll be in a scene that is a very close scene, and he will, as we will be rehearsing it, and he'll say something like, I feel like I should touch your hand. Is that okay? Simple little things like that. And, and I will do the same back to him. And that's something that I really appreciate about him and about working in faith-based films.
And you actually feel that as you're watching it, like you guys treat each other with such class and responsibility in portraying those roles as character husband and wife. And it's a faith-based work. There are certain things that you don't do. And Steve Moquet says Todd is a prima donna, but but there are certain things that you don't do, but at the same time you have to keep a certain level of reality to it as well, and you have to marry the two, pardon the pun, and make it work as effectively as possible. And in every way, in my opinion, Vindication does that. Emma L. Roberts plays your daughter in this series. I think she does a wonderful job. What is it like working with Emma?
She is such a talented young actress and just a wonderful person. When we finally were able to start filming season 2, the very first day that I got there, I arrived just a little bit before Emma did. Then she got there. And it's all the COVID protocols, and we all have our masks and socially distanced and everything. And they put the two of us into the same room where we're going to be doing our wardrobe and things. And I'm standing on one side of the room, and she walked in and she was standing on the opposite side of the room. And the two of us, we just wanted to hug each other, but we couldn't. And it was so frustrating. So, you do that air hug from across the room. But yes, she's just a wonderful person and such a talented actress. And yeah, great to work with.
Well, one of the things that stands out about Emma's character is the tension between her and her dad.
Yes.
And the way that it's conveyed, in large part, although they verbally cross one another here and there, but in large part, the way that's conveyed is through expressions, facial expressions, moods, movement, as they're in each other's presence. Or a look at the end of one of the episodes. She's great at that.
Yeah.
I mean, she is tremendous. I mean, it's almost spellbinding, the way that she's able to do it. And then the way that Jared and the film crew kind of brings it out. It's like, oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I tell you, some of my favorite times on set are when I'm not filming, is when I can just be there and watch them work.
Okay.
I won't say anything about what the scene was, but people will know what I'm talking about when Todd and Emma are sitting outside on the back step.
Yeah.
And I was there, and oh my goodness, just wonderful to watch them work. And the emotion just was, yeah. I won't say anything about it, but it was.
Yeah, it's so hard not to give away too much information, but she is a fireball as far as how she can channel the emotion. Just being able to exude it.
Yeah.
It's just tremendous. It's tremendous. Let me ask you finally about Vindication. Jared O'Flaherty, the director, writer, and producer. What is it like working with Jared?
Jared amazes me. He's the writer, the director, the editor. He can do all those things, but he doesn't have a film background. He's in software. He's in high tech. But I think, with his writing, he's writing so many different characters and does a fantastic job with all of them. Something I definitely appreciate as an actor is that he will talk to us and have us give input. And something I learned in classes is that, when you're doing television, the writers write everything and you never change a single word that the writers write because they're the writers and they've, put this all through the writer's room.
And they hate that.
Yeah, but Jared's like, what do you think about this? Or if he'll ask us for some thoughts and ideas, or and I know just having worked with him, that I'll say, I just don't feel like this is how she would say it. And he can say, well, how would she say it? And we would talk about it. Sometimes he'll take it, and sometimes he'll say, no, I have another reason why we're doing that. But it's a collaboration, and that's something I really appreciate about him. And he's just so talented. The only thing he can't do is give me feedback on the color of my shirt because he's colorblind. And I found that out on set one day when I was like, do you like this color better? And he's like, I have no idea.
I was saying, as you were trying to reestablish connection, I was mentioning the fact that for myself personally, anyway, Gigi Orsillo says he does such a great job. He does. There's no doubt about that. I was talking about PureFlix on the faith-based platform, PureFlix, and that Vindication and The Chosen. I don't know if you've seen that series or not.
Several times.
I honestly, really, to be honest with you, Peggy, and I might be overreaching here, but I just think those are the two best faith-based projects out there right now, to me.
Thank you.
And Vindication, because of its ability to and willingness to tackle tough subject matter and make it beautiful. Like that's the way we should do that. Like we're going to go in, but we're going to do it with class. And then the other one is The Chosen, which is a completely different theme. And I think Jonathan Rumi's portrayal of Christ is the best portrayal I have ever seen of Jesus.
Yes.
I'm like, I get choked up watching most of the episodes. It's so good. It's so well done.
Yes.
So in reference to Vindication, back to that.
I do want to back up
think
just for a
there's
second
another-
and say that Liz Tabish, who plays Mary Magdalene, is a friend
Yeah.
of mine. She and I have worked together for
Oh, wow.
yeah, going back for years. And I remember when she told me about getting that role and was just so excited for her. Yeah.
Oh, she's hard to get up with too. I'd love to have her on the show. She does a tremendous job as well. I mean, the whole
Yes.
all 12 of those guys, they're really, really good. And Elizabeth Tabish is awesome. But in terms of Vindication, because I think when you look at The Chosen, you're talking about a completely different theme.
Yes.
It's a different era, and it is what it is, and that's special. I just think Dallas Jenkins, his hand is just blessed by the Lord in this project.
Absolutely.
And then you look at Vindication, and okay, now we're talking about issues that a lot of faith-based projects, I think, shy away from, as I've mentioned a number of times during this show. And I just think a lot they do, and yet Vindication doesn't. And Jared O'Flaherty should be, credited tremendously for doing that. Do you think that Vindication perhaps may point the way to more faith-based projects like this?
I hope so.
Okay.
I definitely hope so. Yeah.
Because you don't see it very often in film. You just don't see that. And I'm so glad that you came back in, Peggy, because I definitely wanted to get all of my questions in. You came back just in time. What kind of advice can you leave with young aspiring actors and actresses that want to make this their career?
I would say number one is training.
Okay.
You need to get either into a school program, or there's lots of acting coaches out there. Learn as much as you can. And working with student filmmakers is an excellent thing to do. But the most important thing, if you are a Christian, is to never compromise your beliefs in order to get a role. If something does not feel right, does not seem right, turn it down. You might be afraid that you're hurting your career, but it's better to hurt your career than to hurt your soul. So
Strong.
yeah.
Awesome.
So be very selective about what you do. Something I definitely highly recommend that I just did is T.C. Stallings of War Room has a series called The Uncompromised Christian Actor. And it's a series of videos, and it's reasonably priced, and you can watch it on your own time. And it can be for young people and older actors, but I definitely recommend T.C. Stallings' Uncompromised Christian Actor series. And he gets into sticking with your convictions, and then he also gets into a lot of the basics of acting. So that is something I would recommend.
And I think it gets kind of dicey for faith-based actors, because I think although you do secular works, and I have no problem doing something secular or what have you, or, for example, I have no problem performing in a secular room.
Uh-huh.
But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself some serious questions as a faith-based performer. Okay, I love what you just said. If you get a check in your spirit about something, about a role that you're about to undertake, don't do it. Don't go there.
Yeah.
They could be offering you a considerable contract to do something, but don't compromise your faith and your beliefs for money. Don't ever do that in this business, because it can happen so easily, so subtly sometimes you don't even realize what you're about to do because you were looking at something else rather than the whole point of the matter. Is this something that would shame my Savior?
Yeah. And I will say also that it is difficult, especially when you're first starting out. Oftentimes, you won't see the whole script. You'll just get sides for your particular character, and you won't know what's going on with the rest of the film.
No.
So do your homework. I always go to IMDb. It's like, find out who's directing it, who wrote it, see what other kind of work they've done before. And then even ask. I've definitely turned things down because it just did not feel like the right thing to do. So.
Peggy, that actually happened to me. I want an audition for a film, and I thought the subject matter was reasonable to address. Mm-hmm. And because I had been referred to the film by a friend. That I assumed was a believer, right? So I get to the table read.
Oh no!
And I'm playing the role of a mayor, respectable deal here. Wow, everything's hunky dory. I think this is going to be a great project. But my wife and I, again, going back to getting the script, we went straight to my part. We didn't read the script.
Right.
Just, here's your part. Let's go over. So I get to the table read. Peggy, I'm going to tell you right now, I heard there were 2 scenes in this film that were really pornographic.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm at the table read, and I'm going, oh my gosh, what? I'm like, what have I done? What's going on right now? And by the hand of God, I was pulled out of that project.
And that's just listening to it. That's listening to it in the table. Can you imagine if you had done that part in that film, and then you're sitting in a theater watching it and had seen it instead of just hearing it read? Yeah.
Well, I mean, how are you going to go to the red carpet with your family and friends? And you can't. You can't do it. And it was all because I didn't read the script. And again, by the grace of God, he just pulled me. He took me by the nape of my neck and he pulled it out. Because the project fell through. It never happened. So because I didn't have to. Again, I mean, my part, I'm giving a speech at a banquet as a mayor of a town. Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But the association with the other aspects of the film, dreadful. So I had to bring that point out of read the script.
Yes. Do your homework.
You gotta do your homework. Peggy, are there any projects coming up on the horizon?
Not much, because everything has slowed down. Luckily, there are some new auditions coming in. There is a short film that I did before the pandemic started that I found out is going to be premiering at South by Southwest, a film festival. Unfortunately, the festival's not happening in person this year because I would love to be there for that. But really proud of these young filmmakers for this film. It's called Malignant. And I'm a woman dying of cancer. I think that's something I play a bunch. And yeah, I've got one of my acting coaches who I've worked with for years as an acting coach wrote a film and is directing it and using all of his students in it. So it's going to be nice to be part of that. And we're going to be filming that soon. Yeah, I got an audition. I get so excited sometimes just to have an audition for something. I did have an audition for the Erwin Brothers film. Didn't get it, but it was nice to have an audition. And I found out the woman who did book the role has been nominated for an Oscar. So, yeah, I've got some really good competition out there.
What is the name of that film, by the way? I've heard about it.
Oh, Warner. Oh goodness, what's the name of it? All American.
It's about a football player, I think.
Yes, it's about a football player.
Is it about Tim? No, it's not about Tim. It's not about him.
No,
but I've heard about it, and I think it's about a football player. I've heard that about the film, and I'm pretty interested to see that. Those guys are awesome. The Erwin
and the
brothers.
Kendrick brothers are getting ready to start auditioning for something. So I know my agent submitted me for that. So hopefully I'll be able to audition for that one. American Underdog. Thank you, Candace. Thanks,
Candace. American Underdog. I definitely want to check that out. Those guys. That's about Kurt Warner. Yes. That's it right there. Kurt Warner has a tremendous God story.
And I'm glad it's being made into a film. That's wonderful.
If you're going to ever make a film about someone that's in the fold, that's a follower of Christ, it's Kurt Warner. Because the thing about Kurt is like he's the type of guy that doesn't beat you over the head with his faith. He's not thumping a Bible. He's not on a soap. He's never that. But he will clearly make it known who a savior is. So he marries the two ideas so well. He's so well respected in the football world because he's just a regular guy who was a great quarterback. He's humble. And again, his faith is kind of understated. Actually, Peggy, I actually mentioned a guy, and I didn't mean to. I won't mention it again because I don't want to be. But they're two different guys. You know, they love the Lord, but their approach is really different, and it kind of, I think people kind of go, I don't. I'm going to leave it alone. I love the Kurt Warner story. And it's called American Underdog. I Can't Wait by the Irwin Brothers. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with the very talented Peggy Schott from the series Vindication. Also, you can see her in the AMC series Fear of the Walking Dead and the indie film Bull. And one more time, how can we see Bull, Peggy?
It's out on all different platforms. It's on Amazon Prime and YouTube and lots of different pay-per-view.
So how can fans follow you on social media or by website?
My website is peggyschott.me. Peggy Schott me. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. So please, follow me.
Awesome stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Peggy Schott from the crime series Vindication, which can be seen on PureFlix. Peggy, thank you so much for being on the Maurice Brown Show, and may the peace of Christ be with you and your family. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.